my talk. Here we go. How he said he living life as a gringo, where you question where you fit in every time you mingle. They say you do this with not enough that. My rapping is really bad. This life as a gringo.
Yes, hello and welcome to another episode of Life as a Gringo. I am Dramos, of course, and it is Thursday, so it means it's time for our Thursday Trends episode. Flying solo on today's show because same as I kind of said last week, I feel like we've had a lot of guests. Sometimes I just want to get on here and talk my shit, even though I am currently dying from allergies. I feel like I have a new ailment every show. I apologize if I am becoming that person who complains all the time, but man, allergy season is starting early, and allergies got me messed up. I feel exhausted for no reason. I think because of allergies, I can't breathe out of my nose. I'm touching my eyes constantly. So if I sound crazy, hear some sniffles, whatever it is, just bear with me. I am riding the struggle bus today, but of course, we gotta bring you an amazing show as per usual. Now, today we'll be talking about this potential TikTok ban that everyone on the internet is losing their shit over. We'll talk about what the hell that even means. Why is it happening? And we'll also talk about some new gun law in Louisiana that makes it even easier to carry that thing on you, even though, you know, the world we live in today has proven we probably should have stricter gun laws, but we'll get into that. We'll talk about Bad Bunny suing a fan over YouTube videos. And then on a positive note, there was a really beautiful moment at the Oscars between two incredible Latinas that we will discuss. So a bunch to get into today. Without further ado, let's just dive into the nonsense, the BS, in a segment we call For the People in the Back.
Say it louder for the people in the back. Say it louder for the people in the back.
All right, so let's start with TikTok. And again, apologies if I sound crazy or you're watching the video version of this on YouTube, which if you're not aware, there's a video version of it on the My Cultura podcast YouTube channel, or just probably search Life as a Gringo and you'll find it. But I'm sure I look crazy as all hell right now. My nose is probably red as hell, my eyes. Bear with me, all right? We going through this. If you have allergies, you get it, you understand. We in this together. Now, TikTok. You had the House of Representatives passing legislation yesterday, actually, giving TikTok two choices: find a buyer or face a nationwide ban in the U.S. Now, President Biden has indicated he would sign the bill. Of course, it now has to pass through the Senate, where they're saying it faces an uncertain future. This is according to NPR. They're kind of talking about how several other anti-TikTok efforts in the Senate have stalled, so it's too soon to say whether or not this is all going to actually go into effect. Whatever happens, though, they're saying it marks the first time a chamber of Congress has passed a bill that could shut down a social media platform. Now, this is something that, you know, civil liberties activists say tramples on the free speech of millions of Americans. Now, my initial thoughts on this, my hating ass was like, good, one less social media platform I have to worry about. But also, I get it. You know, it's a little scary to think that the government could just kind of take control like this, right? I think I don't trust the government enough to have them start controlling all the things that we do or ingest as far as content and things like that go. So obviously there are some fears within that. I think it is interesting that they are taking these measures, and I'm curious why they feel it's so serious, why this is something that they've decided to move forward with. And then my heart does go out to people who have created a livelihood via a platform like TikTok, and then to now have that stripped away is scary. Is scary at the end of the day. Now, let's kind of break this whole thing down a little bit further because I feel like there's a lot of details that I'm not getting from the little mini things on the internet, on social media. So we're going to learn about this, together. I'm reading this all for the first time and kind of diving into what the hell all this means, right? So what exactly does the House bill do? So the bill gives ByteDance 6 months to find a buyer for TikTok. If the company cannot sell the app in that time, it will become illegal for app stores and web hosting companies to offer TikTok as long as it remains under the control of a, quote, foreign adversary. That, in turn, would force Apple and Google to remove TikTok from its app stores. It will require internet service providers to make TikTok inaccessible on internet browsers in the U.S. Now, they're saying there's no way to make TikTok disappear for the 170 million Americans who have already downloaded it, but removing TikTok from app stores would mean that users would not be able to download any further software updates, and experts say without the ability to update regularly, the app would become slow, glitchy, buggy, and rife with other problems to the point where using it at all would just be basically impossible. In other words, TikTok, as they say, would die a slow, gradual death rather than a swift demise. Again, all this according to NPR. The one thing that rubbed me the wrong way as I just read this, TikTok being inaccessible on internet browsers in the U.S. That sounds something like what happens in China with most websites, right? So the fact that we are adapting something that is common practice in communist countries is a little bit scary. Now, moving on to what more details are of this. Let's read along. What is the case that TikTok poses a national security risk? Many in Washington, including lawmakers from both parties and top intelligence officials, fear the Chinese government could use TikTok to spy on Americans, push pro-China propaganda, or use the service to interfere with U.S. elections. To date, lawmakers have not offered any evidence of the Chinese Communist Party using TikTok as a weapon against American interests. Now, I read this, and all of that does sound well and good, right? They're concerned about China interfering with elections or spying on Americans. How come they're not concerned with the fact that these companies are able to take our data and then sell it off? That sounds like just about the same thing to me. You know, when we all sign up for these social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram and everything else, we sign away our rights, essentially. We give them the right to take our data, right? And they sell it to advertisers. I mean, I think they even sell it to law enforcement. It's like a legal workaround that law enforcement can use to get information. To me, that should also be a concern. Like, yeah, I understand the foreign communist government aspect of it is a bit scary, but I also feel like, why should they legally be able to take my data and sell it to somebody without my permission? And I know I'm signing it away, so therefore it's like, you know, whatever. I'm engaging in that for the ability to scroll mindlessly for hours on end. But and I'm just being, you know, facetious there. Obviously, I love social media, and it's given me a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I just think if we're gonna be concerned with things, we should be concerned with more than just this one thing. That's what comes to mind as well. That always rubbed me the wrong way, though. The data thing scares me, even though, again, I'm willingly signing it over. Moving on to the article, they say, have there been developments that have troubled officials in Washington? And they say, yes, there's actual things that they are concerned with. They say ByteDance admitted in 2022 that former employees, but not government officials, had surveilled Americans on TikTok, including several journalists who were writing critical stories about the company. And last year, a former ByteDance executive said in a court filing that the Chinese government has in the past been granted a, quote, super user credential on TikTok that it used to spy on Hong Kong protesters in 2018, something that the company denies. Okay, so a former employee says they did this, company is denying it. While neither incident shows that the Chinese government has used TikTok for espionage or disinformation campaigns on U.S. users, the developments have fueled a growing worry that Beijing could order that the app's algorithm be manipulated to shape what millions of American users see when they scroll. Yeah, that's kind of scary as we learn about these different details here. Listen, man, social media is scary in general, right? Potentially scary in general, because nobody really knows how this shit works except for the people who develop these algorithms at the end of the day. We don't know. I can always guarantee you that in 10 years, we're going to hear all kinds of crazy fucking stories from Instagram and Facebook and all these different people about wild things that they did to spy on people or ways that they have affected society in some sort of way, be it elections or consumer habits or whatever, right? And it's a slippery slope. This is entirely a slippery slope. The the amount of power that social media platforms have been given sort of unpoliced for so long, it's kind of like now you're trying to put Pandora back in the box, you know? And unfortunately, you had a lot of people in positions of power that I think didn't really understand how social media worked, didn't take it seriously, and allowed these companies to become incredibly powerful. To now you're at this point we are now, where it's like, man, they really can potentially fuck up a lot of shit if they're not monitored properly, right? So I mean, listen, to a degree, I get it, and I guess we'll see what the hell happens with this. It's a really interesting sort of time period to be in. I'm personally, even after reading that, I'm still like on the fence, because it is scary to think about the potential power a foreign government could have over millions of Americans just via this platform. But again, I don't feel safe with the American social media companies, the power that they have. You know, I think, like, as a whole, we need to be looking into all these companies, into all these platforms. It's a lot, man. It's scary. I don't have the right answer. It's just fucking scary. That's literally all I could say. Now, speaking of scary shit, let's talk about guns in the United States of America, because this is a hot button topic, apparently, even though it's a real issue and people don't want to admit it. Now, Louisiana, you had the governor, Jeff Landry, this month signing legislation to allow permitless carry, which effectively rolls back Louisiana's foundational gun safety policy that requires Louisianans to receive training and obtain a permit to carry a concealed firearm in public. The bill was passed by both chambers during Louisiana's special legislation session and will go into effect on July 4th. So essentially, before this, you needed to have a special permit to have a concealed carry permit. Basically, I know that sounded redundant. So to carry a concealed weapon, you had to have a special permit. Now they've rolled back that, completely effective July 4th. You will be able to carry that thing on you without having to get any sort of permit or training. Okay. Now this is obviously scary shit, and I found a organization called Moms Demand Action that had some really startling statistics on this topic. Now, they say the bill was signed into law despite research showing that states that have weakened or have eliminated their permit requirements, like Tennessee and Missouri, have experienced a 13 to 15% increase in violent crime. So states like Tennessee and Missouri that have weakened or eliminated their permit requirements have experienced a 13 to 15% increase in violent crimes. They say in an average year, 1,125 people die and 2,936 are wounded by guns in Louisiana. Louisiana has the second highest rate of gun deaths in the U.S. In Louisiana, 84% of all homicides involve a gun, compared to 78% nationwide. Guns are the leading cause of death among children and teens in Louisiana, again, according to Moms Demand Action organization. Okay. So we have a gun problem in Louisiana, and the solution is, let's just make it easier for people to carry guns. That makes sense, right? I don't. It's you know what's crazy to me? What's wild to me is let's just call it what it is. You want to support the NRA. You have a voting base there that loves their guns. You want to get reelected. So you're going to make it easier for them to do what they want and to make it seem like you are on the team of pro-gun. That's it. That's what this is. There's no other argument that could be made. Like, why would you need to make it easier for someone to carry a concealed weapon? It's wild to think it was already legal. They just had to go through the proper channels. So what excuse could you say is the need for you to roll back the process and make it even easier now for someone to just buy a gun and then keep it on them at all times? Again, it's just to sell more guns or to appease a voting base that loves their fucking guns. There's nothing else you could say. And they'll bullshit and say, oh, this isn't going to affect gun sales, blah, blah, blah. Most gun owners are respectable human beings. Sure. But you have a state that has a gun problem, a problem with violence at the hands of guns. And you're going to make it easier for people to carry guns on them? And again, I look at police officers. I'm like, yo, if I was a police union, I would be standing up and be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're making our life far more difficult. Because now any asshole potentially could have a gun on them when we pull them over. Like, it's crazy. If the logic is that most gun owners are responsible, why would those responsible gun owners not want the process to be a little bit more difficult? Not want the process of having a gun, buying a gun, owning a gun, carrying a gun to have levels to it that you have to prove that you are a responsible gun owner. It's like driving a car. There's levels to getting a driver's license. It's just crazy to me. Like, you can't buy a beer, but you can fucking carry a concealed weapon on you. You can buy and carry a concealed weapon on you in these states. That's just wild to me. Again, there's no real logic to it. Like, it's literally, it's just because you're getting probably donations from the NRA and your base loves their guns. And that's the popular rhetoric that amongst your voters, and you're trying to appease them. That's it. What other justification could you have in a state that has a gun problem that you want to just make it easier for more people to keep guns on them? Yeah. I'm just bringing you these stories to just, I don't even know, I guess drive your blood pressure up, because that's what it does to me. It's just frustrating. It's fucking dumb. It's annoying. Obviously, it's ridiculous. And this is, unfortunately, a large part of America and their belief system. Nobody wants to think critically, or people believe that their personal beliefs should supersede what's probably right for society as a whole. That's really where we are. And the gun laws and lack thereof are always going to be a great showcase of people's selfishness at the end of the day. So that's that. I'm not even going to go further with that story, because it's just stuff like this annoys the shit out of me. With that said, now's a perfect time to take a quick break. We'll do that, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back, and on a bit of a lighter note here, let's talk about Bad Bunny and why he is suing a fan over YouTube videos. So, according to TMZ, Bad Bunny is suing a fan named Eric Guillermo Madronal Garron for posting concert footage to his YouTube channel, Mad for Live Music. Okay, I chuckle. I wish I had like one of the long Latin names. I gotta figure out what mine is. I know I obviously have it, but I gotta figure out where. It's confusing because it's like they include, I think, the mother's maiden name traditionally in there somewhere. I want to figure out mine. I'm gonna go buy my long ass name and have that put on my driver's license. I just think I love that. It's beautiful. Anyway, Garron allegedly went to Bad Bunny's concert on February 21st in Salt Lake City, Utah. He recorded multiple videos of the live performance, then shared them online, quote unquote, without consent. This is according to the lawsuit. Bad Bunny owns the rights to his live performance music, which fans cannot use for profit unless they have his authorization. The lawsuit documents state that Garron cannot use the singer's name and music to drive traffic and earn ad revenue through his YouTube channel. The lawsuit notes that Bad Bunny and his team tried to issue standard takedown notices under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act without success. Okay. Now they're saying if you are personally concerned about posting a video sharing your experience on the concert, you don't have anything to fear, because they're saying Garron was actually using high quality camera equipment and also had a great view. So it was actually like he was setting up a professional shoot. I guess they're not really too concerned about your grainy cell phone videos where you document pretty much the entire concert for your Instagram story. Bad Bunny's also seeking either $150,000 for each video or the profits that were made from ad revenues on YouTube. And they're saying that one of the videos that was still up on this guy's channel as of last week was 9 minutes long. It almost looked like a professional recording of the show. Now, the guy Garron is objecting to the removal of the bootlegs from YouTube, and they're saying there's all kinds of disputes. I think he actually even filed a counter lawsuit against Bad Bunny. Garron is saying that he made legitimate use of the content. I believe his page has since been taken down or suspended by YouTube since. Now, this is also a lesson right here in why you need to read the deeper story than just the headline. Because if you were following any like Latin-centric pages, or I think even TMZ to a degree on social media, the headline was Bad Bunny sues fan for posting a concert video on YouTube. And when you read that initially, you're like, man, what the fuck has gotten into Bad Bunny that he's suing the everyday man, a fan of his, for posting the video they took at the concert? What an asshole. But here's the difference. Because when I first read that, I was like, man, has Bad Bunny become, has the Kardashian curse gotten him? He's now becoming like this bougie-ass, artist. And the verdict is still out, I guess, to a degree on certain things. But now reading this, my man basically bought concert tickets, got the, pristine view with the intention of setting up a semi-professional video shoot so that he can capture the concert and then redistribute it on his own YouTube channel for profit. I kind of get why he's being sued. And also, before being sued, they gave him the chance. Like, hey, take this down. You don't own the rights to it. And he refused. I get it. You're stealing somebody else's work, repurposing it for your own profit, not giving them any of the credit or compensation for it. That's why, TV networks have to license like pro sports or concerts and things like that. They strike deals because you're licensing somebody else's work for profit. So therefore, the person you're licensing from needs to be compensated because you're making money. Why shouldn't they be making money? Right? You're making money off of their art. Now, obviously, it's not like this guy's, for all we know, becoming a millionaire off of this. Potentially he could. Hypothetically, he could if he did this at enough concerts and the footage was good enough people watched it. He could become the fucking Mr. Beast of bootleg concert footage. But that it's the brazenness of the fact that he refused to take it down. I think, to me, that this is an incredible lawsuit. I don't knock Bad Bunny for this at the end of the day, because we don't know, what he was potentially, looking to do with this footage. Maybe he was gonna put out a live concert documentary type of thing, right? And obviously it's different footage than the guy had, but I'm saying he might have been planning on putting out a concert, back in the day it was a DVD on YouTube or whatever the hell it is. And now this guy could potentially be affecting the views that he gets from that, from his ability to monetize it, right? Because there's other videos of the concert out there in high quality. Either way, it is his right. This is his work. He put together this concert. He's paying for it. He created all the details for it or hired the team to do it. And this guy, this is like, I feel like I'm always sounding like the grumpy old man, but I feel like a lot of people, like, in conversations around art, I think the social media era really is sort of fucking up the meaning of art or the value of art. And to a degree, social media era has given so many people, myself included, the ability to be out on their own, essentially, because of the advents in technology. You no longer have to have a gigantic brand behind you, right? Or you don't need a gigantic production in order to create content and to distribute it to the world. That's the beautiful thing, right? But at the same time, a lot of people are stealing other people's creative work, repurposing it for themselves online for the sake of their own profit or gaining popularity from somebody else's work. Like, that's common practice in social media. Is a video becomes popular on TikTok or Instagram, you download it, repost it to your own page to hopefully gain some of that popularity. And I'm not gonna lie, I've done it before because it's common practice. Like, people who do social media for a living, that's what they tell you to do. Like, oh, recreate this person's video, use the same exact sound, same format, same this. Oh, download this one, kind of put your own watermark on it and a headline and repurpose it to your page now to gain potential followers, right? Because we know this video works. And I stopped doing it, because I just think it's corny. It's like unauthentic and unoriginal, but like inauthentic and unoriginal. But also it's like, man, you are, and I would always credit people, but something about it feels wrong. You're taking somebody else's creative work and then just like feeding it to whoever follows you as if you just did something profound, right? It's like a lazy way of creating. And maybe that's why my social media following doesn't grow as quickly as other people's, because I have a bit more of a I don't know, a pure mind about it, or some morals, or I just want to be a bit more authentic in what I'm, giving to people. But I think that's what this is essentially. You're taking somebody else's creative work, their art, and you're just stealing it. You're looking to profit off of it. And does Bad Bunny need the money? Of course not. I think this is more so setting an example. I think he gave this guy the opportunity, because that's what I want to make sure I put out there as well, because the narrative is always going to be Bad Bunny is the bad guy here. We have to discuss the fact that he gave this person the opportunity to take it down, to say, hey, I didn't approve this. I don't want you using my work in this way. Can you please take this down? And the guy was like, basically, fuck you. And that's why he's getting sued. So yeah, you deserve to get sued if you're going to not respect the creator's wishes of utilizing their artwork. Because it's and this is like, the line that we all have to figure out where we stand when it comes to social media, when it comes to internet culture, technology. Because you have the ability to profit off of a lot of things these days, including other people's hard work, right? So this guy basically, and not to say he's not putting in some sort of work, right? Because he has to buy the equipment, he has to show up, he has to buy the ticket, whatever, sure. But basically, Bad Bunny puts together this entire concert, right? That's meant to be experienced live. And this guy is just like, you know what? I'm going to take my fancy camera, I'm going to set up a tripod, buy this ticket, and then I'm just going to go and turn this into my business, right? Because his YouTube channel is mad for live music. Basically taking other people's work, repurposing it on YouTube for his own profit. And there's a gray area there where it's like, is it that serious? Probably not. But at the same time, you're really just stealing somebody else's thing and then just repackaging it and profiting off of it. And that's sort of a norm in so much of internet technology, internet sales, internet culture. There's just this like, we're normalizing people just sort of taking somebody else's work, doing the bare minimum to sort of repurpose it or repackage it, and then profiting off of it. And I don't know, as a creative, as an artist, that rubs you the wrong way a bit. And I'm trying not to get stuck in an old mindset. I'm all about pivoting. I'm all about adapting to new technology. But we do begin to get to a point where we're just devaluing art completely. And that's what scares me a bit. And again, I talk a lot about overcorrections and things of that nature. And this is where we might be going too far into the realm of like modern technology and what it can provide us, where we lose the humanity in life and in creation. And I think that takes away a bit of the beauty of art at the end of the day. And it sort of moves into this, like, you're almost kind of like pushing the line of being kind of scummy here, of how you're choosing to profit off of things, right? Because it's like, yeah, you have this quote unquote entrepreneurial idea, but it's not really much of an idea. You're just like, hey, I could take somebody else's hard work, do the bare minimum, make a channel, and profit off of it. And I respect the hustle, but there's a laziness to it that bothers me a bit, and a griminess to it that rubs me the wrong way. It's just, and again, and then to have the brashness to refute like the cease and desist or the fucking takedown notice and just be like, nah, fuck you. Like, that to me is a new level of lack of awareness. Like, bro, my man, you are profiting off of somebody else's work. You're lucky that you haven't gotten sued before. Just take this one L and move on with your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you not recognize that? That's like being a drug dealer. The police roll up on you, and they give you two choices. They say, either you dump the drugs down the drain, or you give us the drugs, all your drugs, or we take you to prison. And the dude is like, oh, I'm not fucking throwing away this, this cocaine. Are you kidding me? I spent all this time packaging it, and I've put in the work to be here on the corner for hours. Like, this is my product. I bought this. I'm not gonna sit here and just give it away. Oh, take me to jail. Like, what? It makes no sense, bro. You're doing something illegal. Just take the lesser L here. You're lucky you got away with it for so long. That's it. Move on. Cut your losses. But it's like the brashness of the society where we think we have a right to this shit, where it's normal. And that's what's wild to me, and I think scary as an artist. And I'm putting my artist hat on now. I'm speaking from an artist perspective. Even from an entrepreneurial perspective, like, yeah, I respect the grind or the hustle, but it's like, how could, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this kid could be doing this in the background for all we know. I don't know this person, but I wouldn't be too proud of like this being my entrepreneurial idea. I would, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, this isn't that cool. I am just doing the bare minimum for this, you know? And again, maybe that's why I don't have 1 million followers across social media, because I have a moral line that I try not to cross. Potentially could be, but I can live with that. I can live with that because I know the type of life that I want and the type of person I want to be. But again, to me, the craziest thing about this entire story, aside from this kid being like, nope, fuck you, I'm keeping this shit on here. And he lost his page. Like, bro, again, cut your losses. You could be stealing somebody else's concert footage right now if you just said yes and took it down like a normal person. Also, again, the headlines across social media. Bad Bunny sues fan for posting some of his footage on YouTube. That makes Bad Bunny look like the biggest asshole, and most people are not going to bother reading any deeper than that. So, again, that also is a cause for concern these days. With that said, that's enough of the nonsense of BS. Now we're going to talk about some positivity, a beautiful moment shared at the Oscars. We'll talk about that for our Mi Gente segment. Mi Gente. All right, so I have been catching up on the Oscars via social media. I didn't watch it live. I was DJing my monthly party Con Fuego, so very different experience than sitting at home on the couch relaxing watching the Oscars. But like I said, I've been catching up via social media, and a beautiful moment I did see was the legendary Rita Moreno honoring America Ferrera. Now, America Ferrera was nominated for Best Supporting Actress from the movie Barbie. She didn't win, but again, had this legendary moment from the first Latina to ever win an Oscar. And I think the premise that they had, if I'm not mistaken, was they had previous winners of the award introduce the nominees, essentially, and Rita introduced America. And I'm going to give you a little snippet of what she said. We can't play the audio for legal reasons because I don't want to get sued. But I can read it to you. Quotes, America, your powerful Barbie monologue is perhaps the most talked about moment in the most talked about movie of the past year. Your words and the passion with which you delivered them about the most impossible standards females must try to live up to galvanize not only women, but everyone with a pulse. America, from one woman to another, congratulations on your tour de force. And I didn't know Rita Moreno is 92 years old. She looks absolutely amazing, like amazing, and just a beautiful moment. Like I can only imagine if one of my heroes got up there and was saying some nice speech about me. Imagine how I would feel. I think in general, it's just, I think about the optics of it. Okay, let's think about the optics here. Because you have this Latina woman up there on stage, a legend, speaking to a legend in the making, if not a legend already, in America Ferrera, at the Oscars, which is a room that traditionally has not catered to people like you and I. But now in 2024, you have this beautiful exchange between two women of color on a national platform and being celebrated for their collective greatness and their individual greatness. That's just beautiful. Like, Hollywood is whatever. I think there's obviously value in it. I have a story to tell that I want to tell, and for personal and what it could mean for our community. So I don't ever want to I don't write off like, oh, Hollywood isn't, fuck Hollywood, it's whatever. There's a lot of bullshit to it, but at the same time, because of how powerful it is within the culture of society, it does matter. It can matter a lot more if we choose to use its power for moments like this one. And I think that's what's beautiful to see. Again, yeah, I think it's just a beautiful moment. I would imagine anybody with a little girl at home watching that, or anybody who's on their journey, whatever age it might be. Shit, doesn't matter if you are a little girl, little boy, you are they, you are whatever it might be. It's an inspiration to see people who are quote unquote not supposed to be there, being there and being celebrated for their greatness. And that's what's beautiful about it. And salute to Rita Moreno for, her greatness, and America Ferrera for her greatness, and for being somebody. That's what, like, especially in getting to know a bit more of how hands-on America Ferrera has been in the project she's been working on. She's exactly what we need more of. More people from our community in positions of power willing to then bear some of the weight of putting on for our community. That's what we need more of. And it's beautiful when that does happen, when people look past their own personal ego and say, I want to live for something bigger than myself. I want my legacy, my story to have been for something bigger than myself and my own personal accolades. I want to empower the next generation. I want to be somebody who contributed to our progression at the end of the day. I love that. I salute that. That's the philosophy I personally try to live by. And it's beautiful to see somebody doing it at the highest level, like America Ferrera. And just a beautiful moment that was shared between the two of them. So salute to both of those legends right there. Now, with that said, let's tie everything we talked about today in a neat little bow in a segment we call Conclusion Stew.
Time for conclusion stew.
All right, we somehow have made it. The allergies have not kept me down. Full disclosure, I had to take a pause between every single topic, basically, to blow my nose and collect myself. Because I am dying a slow death out here. Somehow, some way, I feel okay now. I think I've maybe gotten it out of my system. But we made it. We out here. I feel so bad for whoever has to edit the video footage of this podcast and watch it back and just sees me in all of my grossness and just snot. It's just not a pretty sight. So I am sorry to whoever edits the video. There's a few people I would call them out by name, but I'm not sure who specifically edits my videos. But I salute you and I thank you. I owe you a Christmas card or a holiday card, whatever it is that you celebrate. I have to figure out who actually edits my videos because, again, there's a few people on the chain. I'm not pretentious where I don't care what anybody's name is on the team. There's a few people on the team. I'm not sure who specifically. I think it's Jordan. Is it Jordan? Jordan might be the one who edits my videos. Shout out to Jordan if it is you who is actually hands-on editing the videos. And I apologize for what you had to see. Allergy season got me fucked up, and it's not even spring yet, officially. Anyway, TikTok potentially being banned. Still has to go through the fucking Senate, so it's not all lose our shit yet. There's a lot of interesting questions being asked here. Am I scared of the government, taking control over companies? Yes, that scares me. Am I scared of the Chinese government potentially spying on us? Yes, that scares me. Am I scared of our own government spying on us because we sign away our rights whenever we sign up for one of these platforms, even if they're American-owned? Yes, that scares me. My data getting sold to companies scares the fuck out of me. Social media is incredible. It's also scary as fuck. I don't know where I stand on it. I think we have allowed this thing to get way too big, and now we are trying to figure out how to put Pandora back in the box. Good luck with that. I'm going to keep following along at home, and we'll see where this whole thing lands. It's scary. Other scary shit. Guns. Again, I don't know what it's going to take for people to say maybe we should pause this whole gun thing and rethink it rather than just trying to make it easier and easier for the sake of getting more votes. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to take. Obviously, the NRA checks must be amazing, and living in fear of the people who are on the most extreme part of your party, that stuff works, I guess. I don't know. Re-election is a hell of a thing, I guess, depending on where you live. I don't know. Bad Bunny suing a fan over YouTube videos. Again, headline is deceiving. This person is creating a whole business based upon the creative content of other people, profiting off of it. That's why he's being sued. He was given the chance to take it down, refused, and now he's being sued for it. That's that. I mean, this is one of those ones where I'm not going to call Bad Bunny the bad guy here. And social media headlines are very deceiving. I don't know why that rubs you the wrong way, but it's like, find a way. I know it's a headline. We're supposed to read deeper, but most people don't read deeper. And they're just, the headline is always going to be the thing people run with. Yeah, it's what a weird time we live in. I can't even grasp it all completely. because I feel like I'm not angry about the time we live in. I just want people to have a little bit more common sense. That's it. Anyway. And in a beautiful moment, Rita Moreno and America Ferrera celebrating, I guess, one another, or more so Rita Moreno celebrating America Ferrera. Almost, it feels like kind of passing that baton down to a degree. I think is a beautiful thing. That's legendary. And the optics of those two women on camera at the Oscars, the biggest night in Hollywood, a place where we've been left out of for long periods of time. I love to see that. I think it's a beautiful sign of the changing of the times potentially. Obviously, there's a lot more work to be done, but we are, I think, heading in the right direction. Things like this give me a lot of hope. So, beautiful thing. And again, the video version of the podcast, you want to watch it, throw it on in the background while you're cooking or something, check it out on the Cultura podcast YouTube channel. Even if you just search Life as a Gringo, you should find the show. You'll get all the visual, effects of what I'm talking about. You'll get the cameos for my dog who just restlessly wanders around the set for no reason whatsoever. And there's a lot going on here. Check out the YouTube channel. With that said, I'll catch you guys on Tuesday with a brand new episode. Until then, have an amazing weekend. Stay safe. Take your allergy medication. Just don't leave the house. I don't know what the answer is, but if you are suffering like me, we are in this together. We're going to be all right. Have an amazing weekend. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.